This lesson covers different types of angles and moves into identifying angle-pair relationships. Be sure to have a pencil and paper handy for taking notes and working practice problems. Remember that you can pause the video at any time so you can work at your own pace. Here are two basic types of angles that we probably all know in our sleep by this point. Acute angles measure less than 90 degrees, and obtuse measure greater than 90 but have to be less than 180. Don't forget about the last part. It's important in distinguishing the next two types. Two more basic types that we have worked a lot with are right angles, which equal 90 degrees, and straight angles, which are straight lines that equal 190 degrees. Straight angles will be very useful in our discussion of angle pairs. When two lines are cut by a transversal, 8 different angles are formed. Remember that a transversal is a line that intersects other lines in at least 2 different points. For the most part, we will be dealing with parallel lines. Keep this in mind when we get to later lessons in this unit and look at theorems and proofs, but know that lines don't always have to be parallel. The first type of angle that we will discuss is vertical angles. These are two non-adjacent angles whose sides are formed by intersecting lines. In this case, we see angle 1 and angle 3, and angle 2 and angle 4 are the vertical angle pairs. Another way to think of them is that they make V's with their points stuck together. When we think about the term adjacent, what comes to mind? Hopefully you think something like next to or side by side. If two rooms are adjacent to each other, they share a common wall and corners. Adjacent angles are the same way. They are angles that share a common side and a common vertex. In this case, angle A and angle B are adjacent angles. Alternate interior angles can be found on opposite sides of the transversal and inside the two lines. Angle C and angle F are labeled for you. Can you find the other angle pair? Hopefully you chose angle D and angle E as the other alternate interior angle pair. Alternate exterior angles are on opposite sides of the transversal and outside the two lines. In the case of the given figure, angle 1 and angle 8 are alternate exterior, and angle 2 and angle 7 are alternate exterior. Same side interior angles are those on the same side of the transversal and must be inside the two lines. Angle D and angle F are shown. Find the other pair of same side interior angles. Hopefully you picked angle C and angle E. Same side exterior angles are on the same side of the transversal and outside of the given lines. Remember with both of these that you can break apart their term to figure out what the definition is if you forget. So an angle 1 and angle 8 are same side exterior, and angle 2 and angle 7. Finally, we have corresponding angles. Often we see a definition that says these angles occupy corresponding locations, but what does that really mean? By looking at the images given, we can see they are both on the same side of the transversal and both either above or below the two parallel lines. Hence, we use the term same relative position. So corresponding angles are those that occupy the same relative position at each intersection where a straight line crosses two others. Now we're going to look at an online interactive applet for some practice. I will do some of them for you, but remember that you can use it as much as you like to practice. So here we have where we can choose the number of transversals. We're just going to stick with 1 for right now. And it gives us that line Q is parallel to line R. If angle D is 70 degrees, we want to find information about angle D and angle G. Angle D, if it's 70 degrees, is it acute, obtuse, or right? Hopefully, you said acute. Angle G then is an obtuse angle when looking at the picture. And these two angles, are they vertical, adjacent, alternate interior, alternate exterior, same side, or corresponding? So if D is way up here and G is over here, they can't be vertical. They're definitely not adjacent. They're not both interior or both exterior, and they're not found in corresponding locations. So this one, we should say none of the above. Now we can check our answers. We got them all correct. So if we click again to give us new angles, line Q is again parallel to line R, and angle D is 65 degrees. Angle D then is again acute. Angle E, if we look at the picture, is also an acute angle. And these two angles are both inside the parallel lines, and they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So that should make them alternate interior angles. Let's check and see if we're correct. There we go. Again, you can come up here and insert 2 transversals. So when we get later on into the unit and we start doing a few more that are a little bit more complicated, this is another thing that you can come back to practice. Okay. Feel free to practice on your own as much as you like.